This is the only subliminal guide you'll ever need. I'm breaking down exactly how subliminals impact your brain, what science says about them, and the simple but powerful method to make them work for you. Plus the number one reason they might not be working, which is something that most people miss. So make sure to stay until the end, because you really need to hear this if you want subliminals to work for you. Subliminals are audios that contain affirmations layered beneath music or sound, so low that you can't consciously hear them. They're available all over YouTube, and they're so widespread that you should be able to find one for every single one of your manifestation goals. Their purpose is to bypass your conscious mind and to go straight to your subconscious mind, the part of you that is responsible for 95% of your behavior, beliefs, and results. In this way, subliminals have a significant advantage over all other manifestation techniques. When you visualize, affirm, or journal, you have to deal with the conscious mind first, before any of the input can reach your subconscious, meaning your conscious mind can serve as a barrier between you and your subconscious. It causes resistance. Subliminals cut out the middleman, so to speak. No negotiations, the input goes straight to your subconscious mind. The other reason subliminals have gained so much popularity is because they are a passive method. You can listen to them while driving, working, or even sleeping. No conscious effort. That ease is exactly why so many people are drawn to them. But do they actually work? How do we know that they're working when we don't actually hear them? And is there any proof of that? Let's get scientific. Your brain receives over 11 million bits of information every second, but your conscious mind only processes about 50. So what you are aware of any given second is merely 0.000405% of what is actually going on in your life and your brain. Picture 110 football stadiums, each holding 100,000 people. That's 11 million people in total. Now imagine choosing just 50 people out of the entire crowd. That's 0.00045%. The tiny sliver of information your conscious mind processes. Everything else is going into your subconscious. That's why subliminals don't need your attention. They slip into the 10,999,950 bits your subconscious is paying attention to. By now you should realize how little of your brain's incoming information you actually notice. The rest that you don't notice is filtered out by a part of your brain. It's called the reticular activating system, short RAS. The system decides what you notice and what you don't, based on what's familiar or emotionally charged. Here's the key: even if you don't consciously hear the affirmations in the subliminal, your brain still receives and processes that data. It's just happening below the level of awareness. Now that we understand that subliminals really do affect our brain, we are diving into how they actually help us manifest what we want. When the brain perceives a signal from the subliminal, a designated group of neurons fires in your brain. And again, this is happening beyond your awareness. And because subliminals repeat the same affirmations over again, those neurons don't just fire once. They continuously fire during the duration of you listening to it. This is very time efficient, because you can get in repetition faster than you could by, let's say, writing. Why is it relevant that those neurons fire? Once a neuron fires, it means it is activated, and that means it's more likely to fire again in the near future. And the more often a neuron fires, the more likely it is to be fired again. Our takeaway from this is that subliminals activate regions in our brain that are relevant to our manifestation, and by doing that, reprime our brain to steer our focus towards our manifestation. The brain's filter will scan for evidence that support the subliminal messages and cut out distractions, as well as evidence contradicting our manifestation. Subliminals work through priming. You could picture priming as a pre-workout for your brain. You warm up your brain for the real thing, like you warm up your muscles for the exercises. Associated neurons fire, meaning they're more likely to fire again, leading to a habit forming. Subliminals make thinking the right thoughts a habit. Repetition is what causes synaptic connections to strengthen. This is what we also call impressing the subconscious, because it doesn't take conscious awareness to fire the neurons. Even exposure without conscious awareness matters. Consistent exposure, in our case consistently listening to subliminals, is powerful. All advantages aside, subliminals are passive input nonetheless. While they are a wonderful first step toward manifesting what you want, you can't expect real transformation through passive input alone. Priming your brain is like going for a jog before you do your workouts with weights. The muscle mass isn't going to build itself if you stop at the jog. And if your sole technique for manifesting is listening to subliminals, you're likely to get stuck here. Jogging is not the same as a workout with weights. Priming is not the same as programming. You have primed the belief and now you need to reinforce it actively. You just finished a subliminal. Here's what's happening in your brain right now. Your neurons are primed. The message, I'm confident, I'm wealthy, I'm loved, has just lightly activated the part of your brain that is associated with that belief. It's like a tab has been opened. Your subconscious is aware, but not yet committed. This is what you're going to do. Right after listening, you're going to journal that affirmation 5 to 10 times, or say it out loud, in front of a mirror while feeling it. Or visualize yourself living it, as if it's happening right now. You're going to meet your subconscious halfway. Reinforce the message while those neural pathways are still warm. Now those neurons that were just primed, you're firing them again, but this time actively and emotionally. This tells your brain, this isn't just noise, this matters. It starts to strengthen the synaptic connections, and that's when the belief starts embedding into your identity. It's no longer a suggestion, it's becoming a truth. If you skip the reinforcement, the neural pathway starts to fade. It's like laying out your gym clothes and then never going to the gym. The tab stays open, unused. The belief doesn't embed, and you're left wondering why the subliminal isn't working. Well, if subliminals only prime and don't program, should I just skip them altogether? No, and here's why. Subliminals aren't the whole meal, but they are a powerful starter. They soften the subconscious. They open the gate. They get your brain ready to receive a new belief. Which means when you follow up with journaling, affirming, or visualizing, the input lands deeper and faster. It's the difference between writing affirmations on a stone wall versus writing them on wet cement. And subliminals make the mind wet cement. Why you still want to use subliminals? They work passively, so you're priming while doing other things. Driving, walking, working. They reduce resistance because the conscious mind doesn't interfere. The beliefs don't get rejected immediately. They make your active work more effective, because the mind is already in a receptive state. This is why you should absolutely listen to subliminals if you want to manifest quickly. When you skip the subliminal and just use active methods, you can still reprogram your mind, but it takes more conscious energy. When you combine subliminals with an active method, you accelerate results. You prime and reinforce, which means deeper neural change. Only listening to subliminals, you might see slow or minimal change, because you're only opening the door. What if I don't use any method? Nothing changes, you keep running the same programs. Imagine your subconscious mind like fertile soil. Subliminals are the seeds, they hold potential. But without sunlight, emotion, water, repetition, intending, intentional focus, nothing will grow. Seeds alone don't produce a fruit. But when nurtured, they change everything. That's how subliminals work. They plant the thought. You still have to nurture the belief. Here's why you might not be seeing results. You're listening to too many different subliminals at once. The problem is that your brain could receive mixed signals. You're inconsistent. Inconsistency means the subliminal doesn't recognize those messages as important. You're passively listening without reinforcing the belief. This means that no new neural pathways get built. You're unconsciously rejecting the message. Your nervous system could be the problem. And this is the case if your manifestation contradicts your current self-image. Subliminals aren't magic, they're tools. And tools only work when used properly. If you want subliminals to work as quickly as possible, if you want to get the absolute most out of your subliminals, follow this formula. Stick to up to 1 to 2 targeted subliminals at a time. Listen daily for at least 30 days. Repetition is key. Reinforce with an active method. Journal, affirm, embody it. And this is key. Trust the slow build. You're not just manifesting results. You are rewiring your internal reality. Subliminals are powerful when used correctly. Think of them as subconscious training wheels. They won't ride the bike for you, but they do help you stay balanced until your belief becomes your natural state. So don't just listen, engage, reinforce, stay consistent, and watch how your inner world starts transforming your outer reality. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe if you're serious about getting your manifestation. See you in the next one.